a very good afternoon. Welcome back to Nowe-Mєсто. Last race of 2 weeks of Biathlon World Cups here in the Czech Republic. And then the tour will be packing their bags tonight in preparation for the visit to Östersund, the last round of the Biathlon World Cup. This man, Lегрейд, still has a chance of winning the overall World Cup. And he's been selected for the single mixed relay today. Mike Tandrebold Lегрейд sounds a pretty good combination to me.
It does. When you've got the shooting, the strength of Lегрейд, Tandrebold has been on decent shooting form in the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, a hard team to beat. But as earlier, we saw many teams on the penalty loop, surprisingly, with the changeable wind.
Lегрейд, the best all-round shot so far this year, just slightly ahead of Simonada of Austria, who's been good. But as far as complete biathletes go, Mike, he certainly is top of the box, although it is still Johannes Tingesbø in yellow. In terms of the women's, the overall World Cup won by Tiril Eckhoff with some devastating performances over the last, well, the 2 weeks. She's not been beaten here in Nowe-Mєsто.
And again, in the mixed relay, she just showed total domination ahead of the field by 27 seconds, shooting the perfect 10 once again.
And Eckhoff obviously has done her bit. Quite difficult to decide which relay to prioritise, Mike. You still feel it's the mixed relay that is the one? The French have gone with their sort of World Championship team for the single mixed.
Yeah, I think it's at the World Championships you've got options because it's on a separate day, so you can, I think, put your strongest two biathletes in the mixed relay, male or female, and the single mixed. But most teams are going for the mixed relay as the priority, and Norway's still at the top of the field with 228 points.
Антоніном Gigogna. Now, by my calculations, the French need to win today to have any chance of taking the mixed relay title. They will, if they do so, they'll end up with the same number of points as Norway. But Norway, in a difficult situation, Mike, they've got to finish top two to get any points at all, just by the fact that their second place 54 points will come off their score. So they can only increase their tally by 6 if they win. If they do that, then they are the champions for the season. Samuelsson, Sweden, third in the mixed relay standings this season, and Samuelsson, good form at the beginning, good form over the last 10 days or so.
Odebrání náboje. Víš, co se dělá, když se loučí? Činí se oslavná salva. Viděl jste... Really, the 30 glass. Started.
Ok, la borraccia lì, la borraccia che viene tenuta fuori sui Ja.
So let's have a look at the course profile here in Nowe-Miesto for the single mixed relay. And it's a 1.5 kilometer loop. Mike, how do you like racing these short, sharp? This is more like a training run than a race, isn't it?
I think it's great. I would love this race to have been in when I was competing. It wasn't, but we did do plenty of training over that 1.5 distance. Quite a tough little 1.5 kilometre though, isn't it? Under the bridge, up the steep climb, and then quite an easy journey back down to the stadium.
Well, the wind gusting a little from 2 to 9 kilometres per hour. Temperatures well above freezing, so the tracks will deteriorate. Same for everyone, and that's always a nice situation. There's Gigona, who was part of the successful World Championship team in Kubku for France. Actually, they've gone for the same team that got them a gold medal. No surprise there. But the women today going first as opposed to second, that could be a factor. France, Norway, Sweden, the top seeds. Julia Simon, fast Mike, but hasn't really shown, certainly not this week, hasn't shown her best form.
She's definitely dropped away. We saw that sharp form at the World Championships, but there's fatigue, whether it's a skis issue, but it looks like fatigue to me. And many of the athletes are so tired, except early this morning, Tirolekov still looks the most sparky, as if it's day one of the season.
Lynn Persson and Seb Samuelsson for Sweden. The Swedes racing their big names this morning. They got a podium finish as a result of that, finishing third. Germany, poor in the mixed relay. What are they going to do in the single mixed? Haven't been on the podium so far this year in a mixed relay. Italy have. And good morning this morning for the Italians, Mike. Vitozzi, Vera, Vindisch, Hoffer. It's a good sounding team. Austria with a chance. Hauser and Ada teamed up so many times together in this single mixed. Always nice to see them get a good start. And the Czech Republic, have they got a chance? Moravec, one of his last outings in his career.
Yes, he's got a great history. I hope their shooting goes well, and you never know. The magical moment could make a top 5.
Norway with Tandrevold and Lygrid. As far as the shooting goes, they shouldn't have any problem at all. And Lygrid on the last leg looks pretty promising. He won't want to be alongside Seb Samuelsson, who's pretty quick. We could have another interesting situation after the best pursuits we've had for a long, long time yesterday. Borat with the gun, and he sets the field away. It's a big field at that. 27 teams entered into this single mix relay. Remember, each athlete in the single mix goes twice, and the men who are taking the anchor leg this time travel just that little bit further. At the World Championships, that was different, and it was the women that did the longer leg at the end, Mike. They really are aiming at equality here in biathlon. I think that's a good thing. It'll be interesting to see if they change the race distances over time as well.
I thought at the World Championships, though, Patrick, it played into the hands of the stronger teams to have the women going over 7.5 kilometers. I like it here today at the shorter distance, 1.5, so a total of 6 kilometers for all the athletes.
Yeah, I agree with you. And actually, it should be the amount of time spent out on the snow rather than anything else. And certainly the women spent significantly longer. And it played into the hands of France and Norway, as you say, because they have a bigger women's team. They have a stronger women's team. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's no reason why you shouldn't reap the benefits of having a strong women's team.
I love this camera angle, and normally we see this as the 900-meter marker, so it's 300 meters shorter, and that's quite a pace. 1 minute 17, a lot of climbing in that 1 minute 17.
So Julia Simon setting off well, and Sweden with Lynn Persson in there, still well positioned up the front. Team 7, that's Canada, Emma Lunda, who's teamed up with Christian Gau today. Any performances this morning that really stood out for you, apart from the top three?
The top three, well, Italy, to see them back was very good. The shooting, I suppose, from Norway was quite outstanding, only using 4 spare rounds, but that maybe wasn't expected. The Russians kind of collapsed when it came to Loganov. They were at the races. So it was quite difficult in terms of this changeable wind for most teams, 10 of them on the penalty loop.
Well, they're approaching the stadium for the first time, and Julie Simon, they're wearing bib number 1. She seems to be controlling the pace at the moment.
Susan Dunkley, that's great to see again, isn't it? She's found her form in terms of her shooting, which has lifted her ski form, and brave enough to try and lead this in first time.
Yeah, and the Americans with a 6th place this morning, actually pretty good. Egan, Reed, Brown and Nordgren. I think they've shown good signs over the second half of the season, signs of good improvement, and I think the future looking pretty rosy in the American team.
Maybe the Jess Diggins ripple effect. They're seeing how it works in the cross-country, and I think it's feeling much better for the American team in biathlon as well.
Yeah, there are many nations where the biathletes and the cross-country skiers work together, share knowledge.
Yes, I think most nations are beginning to do that more so, and the Norwegians crossing over and sharing training camps sometimes, the Austrians absolutely.
So shoot number 1, and Tandrevold, her skis clashing with Julie Simon. That's always just a little bit of a distraction. We'll see if they can clear the 5. Switzerland going very well down the far end of the range, and Susan Dunkley early in, early out. Excellent shooting. Good work from her, and that would be a turn up for the books if they could get the win. France with Julie Simon, Mike, bit of a meltdown on the first shoot.
Did she come in too hard? Was the pace of Susan Dunkley too much? Lost a lot of time there now. What, she'll be down in 8th or 9th position.
Well, that shows the advantage of being in lane 17 for the first shoot. Obviously have less distance to ski, but Dunkley did well to work her way through to the front, Mike, and then to clear the 5. Plenty of athletes on the penalty loop as they wind their way through the stadium. Obviously much smaller penalty loop. What about Tandrevold's rounds?
Tandrevold, she was just a little slow. I think she got them all with the 5 rounds.
So here's your race leader, only 4 seconds to play with coming out of the range. Gasparin of Switzerland in 2nd. You can see Persson of Sweden in the yellow. Hauser of Austria over on the far side. Yeah, America, Austria and Switzerland. That would be a nice finish to the to the mixed relay season.
It would. I love to see new nations getting in the mix. Switzerland as well. Lisa Gasparin going well at the moment.
She's teamed up with Nicholas Hartvig, who could well struggle to stay with the pace of Lygrid and Gigena, who race for Norway and France, respectively. Seb Samuelsson in there for Sweden as well. The Austrians with Simon Ada. Ada shooting so well, Mike, that his shooting really has made up for his lack of speed this season.
His shooting, I don't think there's been a better standard of shooting when you look at where we are in the season. One World Cup event left, and he really has mastered it. Rico Gross has got him to slow his fast procedures down just a little, and that's made the difference, taking him up to 96% hit rate in the prone shooting.
Well, you can see how much effort they've gone to lay down the artificial snow, make sure there are enough tracks, not just for the racing, of course. This is where a lot of the Czechs do their training, so it provides a fantastic facility, but at no small expense.
Yes, and underneath this, it's asphalt, it's tarmac, and when you have a centre of excellence like this, you really can bring the youngsters in, get them having fun on roller skis, on the air rifles, and quite easy to develop the next generation of good biathletes.
So one more standing shoot to go for this group of athletes, and then straight into the exchange area. Lisa Teresa Hauser, I thought she was looking tired yesterday, but then I looked at the stats, Mike, and actually she was covering the ground pretty fast.
Yeah, she's got those long limbs which make it look as if she's travelling slow, but she's covering a lot of ground, and she's a very strong athlete. Tandrevold has managed to get back in the mix, although she was only detached by 6 seconds as she left the range.
There's Simonada, wearing 6, having to work his way towards the front of the field. He's seen that his partner is out front at the moment, but they still have that standing shoot to come. Tandrevold making her way up on the far side, just trying to get herself into a decent position. She wants to be up the top end of the range. Norway zeroing in lane 2. She wants to get as close to there as she can. And it looks as though she's going to have to settle for 4. So Austria, USA, Sweden, Norway and Switzerland, the first 5 teams in for the second of 8 shoots in this single mixed relay. I thought Hauser was going to go down into the prone there for a moment, but just gently placing the poles on the mat.
That wind again. It is. It's picking up to 10, 11 kilometers per hour. That does move the rifle significantly. Well,
no end of
suffering.
Yeah, spare rounds. The Italians getting away the best at the moment. Michela Carrara, excellent shooting from her. She gets away clear, and Italy will hand over to Giacomo with quite a handy lead, 10 seconds or so. USA finally get them clear. 3 spares from Sweden, the danger of going on the penalty loop. Lisa Teresa Hauser is in the same situation, but she gets it down. Sweden breathe a sigh of relief. Penalty loop for the Swiss and Elisa Gasparin. And the Czech Republic, the home team, Mike, 5 penalty loops. What is that about? That's the first time we've seen that this season.
Oh, that is absolutely horrible. Sharvatova, she's got great ski speed at the moment, but she's lost her way with the rifle. 8 shots, nothing hits. A very bad day on the range.
It does sort of suggest a crossover of shooting, but Kazakhstan are having problems as well, and the wind is strongest down in lanes 15 through to 30. So I wonder whether the Czechs were on a particularly windy lane, but that's sort of scraping the barrel for excuses. So shoot number 3, and Norway moving up the order slightly to draw alongside France. So France, who are the world champions, with Antоніном Gigogna fighting hard over that last loop to get themselves into top spot. Norway quite happy to settle for second, as that's where they zeroed.
And Lygreid, he had to work for that. He left the range 9 seconds behind. So impressed with his shooting. He's attacked so hard over that 1.5 kilometers, hasn't affected his shooting.
Yeah, and all the good work done by Michele Carrara of Italy has been thrown away. Possible penalty loops for the Italians now, with Gigomel missing 3 of his first 5. The Americans go clear. Their good day goes even better. And great shooting. Sean Doherty teamed up with Susan Dunkley, who seems to be on decent form.
Eliseve has been shooting well. He got through that one okay, and should be out fairly soon.
We could be on for another 5 penalty loops, Mike, but this time Poland, no, they get away with it, just downing that penultimate target. And in fact, the last 2 going down for Poland.
And on the first leg, 7 of the 27 teams on the penalty loop, so it's not an easy day on the range, but Lygreid makes it look easy every time.
Yeah, you suspect the ones that went to the right were hit by slightly stronger wind, but everything's safely inside, and he's become Mr. Reliable on the tour this year. Hasn't got away from Gigogna quite yet, but we will see. Tandrevold versus Simon, so that's shooting versus skiing really on the women's legs, and Julie Simon the better skier, Tandrevold the better shot.
And Cymbal, the 23-year-old Ukraine athlete, only 11.9 behind. He hasn't got the ski speed, but he'll be trying to fight hard up this climb. There he is, just coming up this climb now. I think you can afford to really attack from the range up to the high point, because what comes next is just a lot of recovery. And a lot of teams now trying to put that attack in to carry the pace down back towards the stadium.
Samuelsson of Sweden at 29 seconds. And Lim Persson losing a decent amount of time on that first lap. Incidentally, the winners of the mixed relays this year, the Mixed Relay World Cup includes both single mixed relay and the mixed relay. Russia did get a win early season in Oberhof. They won the mixed relay there. France won the single mixed relay in Oberhof just after the New Year period. Those were difficult conditions. They did well then. And France, of course, winning the World Championship single mixed relay as well, but only 4th this morning. They will have been disappointed to be off the podium. A penalty loop from Simon Detieux costing them.
That was surprising. He was rushing, he was trying to shoot fast, didn't get away with it, and then he really had to take a lot of time on his spare rounds to make sure it went down, and it didn't. I like the way Lygreid has opted out with the wind coming from the left. It is an advantage to be in lane 1 because you're shielded from lane 2. The athlete standing beside you takes a lot of the wind that is coming from the left, and that's why Lygreid was keen to come through onto the first lane. The women are ready again
to take over. Your money would be on Lygrid to clear the 5. 90% hit rate so far this season. Gigona on 80%. But in these conditions, who knows? Not perfect, but it's going to be good enough to give a decent lead, and France have got a penalty loop coming up. Mike Gigona, I wonder whether he was just pushing the pace too hard to stay with Lygrid, undoubtedly the quicker skier, but Lygrid showed good form in the pursuit yesterday, and I think maybe his confidence just rising a little bit too much. Good shooting again from the Americans. They get 5 with 6. Sweden get 5 with 5, and Italy, after a bit of a mess on the prone from Giacomo, clears 5 with 5. So they are back in the running for a top 3. Norway, Austria, United States, the leading 3 teams. Italy at 21, Sweden at 22.5. Any one of them could take the top spot today. Welcome back to Nove-Mjesto. We're waiting for chute number 5 on this single mixed relay. An interesting situation developing up front. Only 25 seconds separating the top 5 teams. And that's with the world champions, France, dropping down into 6th, 38 behind. They've already done 2 penalty loops, the French, and only 38 behind. So I don't think they're out of it. Russia, Mike, at 40 seconds. It's going to be hard work for them to get to the podium.
It really is. Only 4 spare rounds used, so the Russian team, it's the ski speed that's letting them down. And what about Andrei Morovets, his last ever race? He was handed over to in last place. He's got it back to 24th. I really hope he doesn't get past. I would say this is his at least enjoyable race, probably, of his very long and distinguished career. To be handed over to so far back, I really hope they don't get past.
Yeah. The Czechs issues on the first standing shoot with Lucy Shavatova missing all 5 targets, 8 rounds, no hits, 5 penalty loops. That's why the host nation find themselves so far back. What about Norway? Back onto lane 1. Tandrevold looked pretty solid first time round, but there's a miss, which opens up an opportunity for Austria. USA on lane 3, Sweden lane 4, Italy lane 5 with Michaela Carrara, who looked good on the first time round. 4 out of 4 for Dunkley, 5 out of 5. USA moving back up into the top 2 and helped by the fact that Austria have now missed 2. Sweden are going to be at least 5 seconds down on the USA, but still in the running for a top spot. And Samuelsson taking the men's leg. He'll be taking the anchor leg for the Swedes today.
What
Italy
about
with a penalty loop?
Yeah, Carrara, it's just not going well at all. She only hit 1 out of the 5 shots in her magazine.
Yeah, she shot well first time around. I wonder whether pushing the pace to stay with the leaders. Germany still not looking as though they're going to threaten the podium positions. They were 40 seconds behind coming in. The clock already at 30. And they find themselves a little bit closer, but 30 seconds off.
And the world champions, Simon, they're struggling, using 2 of the 3 spare rounds, so they'll be lucky to scrape into the top 8.
Now, Mike, if they didn't have to take the lane that corresponded with their position coming into the range, would they all be looking for lane 28, 29, 30?
I think they would go to that more sheltered part of the range, although it depends where you zeroed. Most would opt for the lane in which you zeroed. It changes, of course it does, but it feels safer that that is where you tested your rifle earlier for 25 minutes.
One more shoot for Tandvold, and then her day's work is done. She'll hand straight over to Stålholm Lygrid to try and finish this one off. And with the French so far behind, it looks as though Norway can start celebrating yet another crystal globe. The mixed relay standings will go their way if they win this one. Definitely, France have to win to have any chance. That will give them 3 wins.
And the Swedish team, well, what a disappointment for them. They've lost all their coaching staff, with Matti Nilsson coming late to this event, and he's been isolated. He didn't have contact with the team, so all the coaches are isolated. And it's the athletes who are not racing today who have been scoping and giving all the support around the track. And that's a good show for the Swedish team. Only 13-8 behind, so it's working well for them right now.
Yeah, I think the coaches will be a little bit concerned. What about the technicians, Mike? Have they had to wax their own skis as well?
I think the techies were fine. It was just the coaching staff. They're keeping all the separate bubbles, and they've had backup to get the skis sorted, and the skis are running fine. And I thought they did well earlier in the mixed relay with 3rd position. Again, it was all new to them. And athletes scoping athletes.
Susan Dunkley, good day for her so far. The Americans with only 4 misses. That's a match for both Russia and Norway. Russia at 35 seconds. Actually, they've done a bit better to get closer, but shooting so well, you would have expected to see them in the leading groups. And we've seen a few meltdowns on the range coming from France and Belarus in particular. But, Mike, the leading 5 teams, only 4, 5 or 6 spares required so far.
It's really good shooting. And Belgium there from ranked 15th in 9th position, only 51 behind. That's a strong performance from Belgium.
Yeah, and if Japan continue to shoot as they have done, they could be finishing in the top 10. That would be a remarkable result for the Japanese. At the moment, they're sitting in 10th, 56 down. They've only missed 3 targets, the same as Belgium.
Oh, great for the husband and wife team. That would be fabulous to see them top 5, even on the podium.
Still quite a stiff breeze from left to right. Tandvold unprotected at the moment. I thought it was going to be perfection from Tandrevold. Maybe it's perfection from Dunkley. No, she misses number 5 and a chance for Sweden to go ahead. No, they miss number 5 as well. And Tandrevold clears. The Americans still in this one. They haven't had a podium so far this year. This would be just the moment to do it, to raise their spirits before the last week of the World Cup. So Norway ahead. Lygrid is up against Sean Doherty. Both youngsters, actually, Mike. Doherty far more experienced than Lygrid at World Cup, but Lygrid has been the star of the season.
I'm just wondering if Doherty, I think he has to try and stay with Lygrid's pace. On paper, he's 10, 11 seconds slower, but I think he has to live with that pace and take the risk.
Yeah, it's only a short loop. Here are the Japanese, only 3 targets missed so far. The 2 Takizakis, that makes it 4. And Ukraine might go ahead of them, so they've still got a chance of finishing top 10. But you can see the tension in Dunkley's face. She's gone for rapid fire. This is the fastest shoot I think I've ever seen her produce, but 1 miss. A return of the confidence from Susan Dunkley, a really attacking performance there in the range, and she finds herself in 2nd place. Wow, that's fantastic, as out goes Lygrid, and of course, sorry Mike, tracked by Sean Doherty.
Yes, Sean Doherty, he's like a limpet, he's hanging on there, he has to stay with that pace. It may risk his levels, his pulse levels raising up high when he comes in for his first shoot. 16 just pulled off the track there.
Well, the Americans have pretty much matched Norway for ski speed, Mike, which is probably the biggest surprise of today. Dunkley actually out-skiing Tandrevold, and Lygrid a bit quicker than Sean Doherty, so that's evened itself out. They've both missed the same number of targets, 5, and positions 3 and 4 have both missed 6. That's Austria and Sweden fighting it out at the moment for the last slot on the podium, but it's so close between those leading 4 teams. Any one of them could come away with a win, and the French still down in 5th, 31 behind.
Yes, I was thinking the same. It's so tight, and well done to the French team for coming back. Also for the German team, they didn't have a great start. They're back in 6th, only 31.6 seconds behind.
Favourite ski suit of the season, Mike?
I like the American suit. It's bright, it's loud, and it stands out.
Well, if you asked me which one I wouldn't wear, I would have chosen the same one.
We can recognize them straight away. I like that.
Team 14 is Kazakhstan. Incidentally, the Japanese have dropped down to 12th. Switzerland down in 11. Big teams that should be higher up. Well, the Russians are down in 8th at the moment, 38 behind. You know, a build-up of pressure from the leading 4 teams. This could so easily change, and this first prone shoot is important. The wind conditions, keep an eye on that. It's still blowing pretty stiff from the left. If it comes down to a shooting match, number 2 is the man that you would back every time from what we've seen this season. So the last prone shoot of the race today, and then it's into the stand.
Sean Doherty, there he is. He didn't look phased at all. Physically, he seems okay.
Lygrid, a rare miss. Still at around 96% for the season in the prone position. And Sweden with Samuelsson, a chance to close the gap on Norway. They will do just that. And USA need this target down. They've got it down. So the leading 4 stay just where they were, with an equal shooting match on that occasion. The French really can't afford another miss if they want a challenge for the podium. He thought he had it. He absolutely thought he had it.
Look at the shake of the head, the anger. He felt that was spot on, but the wind, look, it jumped up to 17 kilometers an hour. The brain said that was a hit. It wasn't.
Yeah, and that's really put off Gigona. Didn't spend as long building his position for that first spare. Needs to make absolutely sure of this. And suddenly the French, from a position to attack the podium, are going to find themselves 50 to 55 seconds behind. Germany in a similar position, finally gets it down. And now it's France and Germany going head-to-head on the penultimate lap here.
So impressed with the Americans. It's still 5.1, and we're coming into the final shoot very soon.
I don't think we've ever seen anyone get so far towards exiting the range, Mike, without actually clearing the target. Gigona was convinced, he was absolutely convinced that had gone down.
It unhooked. You've got that important armband on your left arm if you're a right shooter, right-eyed shooter, and he'd unhooked. So it was a rebuild of his position, and he didn't rebuild it the same as he normally would if he had skied in. So it was a little uncomfortable and I think he used 2 of the 3 spare rounds.
Yeah, he used all the spare rounds. I was just wondering whether his neighbour hit the target at exactly the same time as he released his, and he heard the hit from his neighbour, thought it was his, and luckily for him, he did check, made a visual check to realise that he still had work to do. So Sweden and Norway, who've been doing battle today in the cross-country 50k, the FAS cross-country World Cup season coming to an end today in the Engadin Valley. Fascinating races over there.
Samuelsson looking easy there, and he's pulled back, remember, 4.2 seconds. He pulled those seconds back very quickly, and now he's just tucking in, getting recovery, if he can, into the range.
Yeah, I think Lygrid's got to outshoot Samuelsson here. Don't you feel that, Mike, in terms of ski speed?
Yes, I do. And on paper, before the race, I thought Samuelsson's beginning to fade. 7th with a 0-0. It's a good result, but his ski speed was away, and then 20th in the pursuit yesterday. But he really does look back at the races today without his coaches.
Yeah, that would be a nice reward for those who have been put into isolation. Remarkably few incidents of teams having to be isolated throughout the season. So, last shoot of the day. The last 5 targets to be hit here in Нове-Мєсто this season. Sweden, who have been on the podium 4 out of 5 of the mixed relays, but no wins. This is their chance. At the moment, it's going to be a ski race. Slight advantage to Norway, a big advantage to Norway. 150, well, not 150 meters, 8 seconds. I was forgetting the spare rounds for a second. So Sweden have work to do, but they are still in this one. And USA, desperate for a podium finish, need this shot to go down. Sean Doherty, has he got the nerve? Yes, he has. It's down. And now Simonada, I don't think we've seen him miss 2 targets all season, Mike. The pressure getting to him.
Extraordinary. He had to push his pace. He's 38-year-old now, and it maybe has caught up with him at the end of the season. I'm very surprised he missed 2 there.
Well, what has Ada got to try and catch on Doherty? That might be a difficult job for Simonada. 12 seconds. Samuelsson might fancy his chances. I think we'll see Samuelsson and Lygrid in contact before they come in to the stadium, and then it's anybody's guess who's going to win the sprint up the final hill into the finish. Russia are out of it. France have missed their chance of winning the mixed relay, and the gap was 5 seconds. It's down to 3. It's down to 3, but there's still work for Samuelsson to do. I think the fight has gone out of the legs of Seb Samuelsson, but we'll see on the climb. Lygrid looks towards the top of the hill. Good discipline from him. He's not only an immensely talented biathlete, he's also a fighter. From 5 to 2.6, Samuelsson has a chance. It's not over quite yet. There's still a little bit of climbing to go, and that seems to be where he's gaining ground.
Oh, what a brilliant day for the Americans. Sean Doherty, he held his nerve one spare round on the final stand, and I'm quite sure he wouldn't have expected Simon Eder to have to use 2 spare rounds.
Yeah, and the Americans, Mike, putting their main players into the mixed relay this morning. They got a brilliant 6th place. They'll be delighted with that. But to then get a podium in the single mixed relay with Susan Dunkley and, of course, Sean Doherty.
Very impressive. Well, Samuelsson has to give it all, try to pick as much pace over this section of the track. Can he do it? I think he's running out of space.
Yeah, 25-meter climb, and he's starting to lose his balance, but he's still close. 2.8 seconds to play with at the moment, and that seems to have come down. Now Samuelsson puts in that last burst. Still 150 meters to go, and it's the Swede who's traveling the quicker at the moment, but the technique's starting to desert him. Still Norway leading. Sweden looking for their first win of the season, and Samuel goes to his left. He's certainly still got the better glide. Lygrid starting to tie up now as Samuelsson lengthens his glide and powers clear. Brilliant win. 5 seconds gained on that last loop. Sweden take the day, but Norway take the mixed relay crystal globe for the year. 1.5 seconds between them. The best single mixed relay of the season. Well done to Lynn Persson and Seb Samuelsson. That is fantastic for Sweden.
What a hero, Samuelsson. It didn't look possible. He tried early on, but couldn't close the gap at all. Kept on fighting, and just the final 100 meters, he managed to find something from somewhere.
And Sean Doherty celebrates a podium finish for the Americans. 27 teams entered today. That is absolutely wonderful for them. Simon Eder teamed up with Lisa Theresa Hauser. It was good, but it wasn't vintage Eder. With those 2 misses on that last shoot, Mike, I guess rarely does Eder find himself in a pressure situation like that nowadays.
Oh, and he'll be so disappointed. His shooting statistics have been quite amazing, and he lost his way there today for the first time, and it cost him a medal. It cost him a position in this race, a podium position.
And it's not often that Norway produce the best shooting score and don't win a relay. So credit to Sweden, 7 misses, and they still managed to pip the Norwegians on the line. Samuelsson was the hunter there, Mike. At one stage, I thought he'd given up the chase, but he just got a glimmer of hope as they entered the base of that final hill.
So impressive. Samuelsson on a tired body. Yes, they're all tired. He found some inner strength today.
Lottie Lee and Florent Cloud for Belgium. That's a top 10, best we've seen from them this year. That's a really good result. So a few surprises there. The French will be disappointed. Russia, well, they got some respectability back, getting up into 5th, but they should be closer to the podium than that. Belarus in 8, Belgium 9. That is worth singing and dancing about. Really good work from them. And then the Ukrainians down in 10, ahead of Germany. When some unusual teams do well, some good teams do badly. Germany, Mike, what can they do to turn it around? It's been a miserable season for them.
They need to rebuild, don't they? They need to create, in the women's field, faster ski times, and that can be worked on in the summer with the proper training. And shooting occasionally in the men's side has let them down. A lot of people now getting ready for Moravec. I'm amazed Moravec has survived. He did well to survive. They were on the penalty loop 7 times. Not a memorable race for his result, but the fact that it's his last ever race.
Yeah, he was 3:43 behind last time we saw him. Yet to go through 13.1. Here he is, and the cameras will enjoy his swan song here on his home snow. What a career it has been for Moravec, and along with Schlesinger, he's played a huge part in the development of Czech biathlon.
Well, where's he found that pace from? Maybe so happy that the skis will be hung up after this race. And remember, it's Olympics, 2 silver and a bronze in Sochi. Those were his best moments.
What's he done? 11, 12 World Championships over time. His first World Cup season when he got points was way back in 2005. And in 2015, Moravec was number 6 in the world. That was his peak, if you like. That was a really tremendous performance from him. He was a good junior as well. Medals at Junior World Championships. And as Mike mentioned, silver and bronze at the Olympic Games. 2 silver, 1 bronze. 2014 Sochi was his high. Lovely shots, great shots.
And he was going to continue through to the Olympics, but this is his reason for staying. He has to be with the family. As a biathlete, you're 6 months away from the family, and well done to him. It's a tough decision. And so much family support over the years.
Emotional times for Moravec. And yeah, good decision. Good decision. He's unlikely to win any more races at this level. And he's certainly done his job for Czech biathlon. And it'll be interesting to see where they go. Kukalova, of course, might retiring early on the women's side, but Davidova has taken over the reins there. Are we going to see them taking medals in the team events in the future?
I think so. They've got a hard fakes coming through, and he's quite right to feel this as emotional. It's been a long journey, and I thought at the beginning of the season when he was 5th up in Kontiolahti in the very first race of the year, I thought he's on great form once again. He had a great lead into the Christmas period, and so many races. He gave so much to his sport for his country.
Yeah, and probably the last thing he wants is all this attention. But the Czechs wanting to show their appreciation for what he's done over the years. But take nothing away from Sweden. They're the champions here today. So, good race in all. Tremendous finish. Lygrid, 5-second advantage with 1,500 to go. Samuelsson showed his strength. This is what we saw from him early season. You know, he was tired, Mike. You could tell that from the technique, which was really ragged, but he dug deep and then managed to find another little bit of acceleration as he came down into the stadium, I think using the slipstream off Lygrid well. And once he was past the Norwegian tied up, you could see the tension in the shoulders. Samuelsson just let it rip. Beautiful long glide into the finish, totally focused on the job, and got Sweden their first mixed relay win of the season.
Huge shake of the head from Lygrid. He got it all wrong. To be leading by 10 meters with 100 to go, he got his placement completely wrong.
What are you suggesting? He blocked Samuelsson on the left? Surely not.
He could have, I think, it stayed lower coming off that rise as Samuelsson got some drafting in behind him, but hey, he did what he had to do, and it didn't work out for the Norwegians.
Yeah, I think you're right. A bit of free skating might have been a much more effective method for the leader on that occasion. Look at that, Germany on the second page of the results, down in 11th position. Disappointing day for them, Germany, with Janina Hettich and Roman Rees. Well, that is it from Nowe-Miesto and the Czech Republic, a meeting that really has belonged to Tyrell Eckhoff, who has secured the overall World Cup title in the women's. She's taking all the spoils this year, but the men's looks as though it's going to run to the wire. 3 races to go in Östersund. Will it be Lygrid? Will it be Johannes Tingesbo, who is the champion this year? Lygrid will need to improve his sprint finish if he wants it to be him. The Americans have something to celebrate in the closing stages of the season. A brilliant third from them today, behind Sweden and Norway.
Interesujący raz Samuelson.